Don't worry, my friend. I have a solution.
Welcome, comrades, to super serious review of Russian best tank, T14 Armata. Da, suka playa. Anyway, this is the T14 Armata, and welcome to a review of it. Straight off, I'm going to say it's one of the best tanks in the game to camo paint because it's so big. I mean, literally, it's huge. Like, yeah. there is so many good things with this tank. I mean, there are some bad things as well. This is the only tier 10 MBT to have a unmanned turret, well, apart from the Armada 152, but same tank chassis, which means that hold down, turning its turret left, right, backwards, whatever, you can't really hurt it, which is good. Its front armor is really strong. Its side armor is pretty good versus missile charges as well. The side armor is basically worthless. I mean, its side armor can really be penned by AP rounds, of course, but versus missiles and heat rounds, it can be a little bit weird. However, its turret ring, while small, is actually quite vulnerable, and the same goes for the lower plate. So, following the tradition of a lot of Russian MBTs, while its weak spots are very weak, they're quite small to hit, but if you do hit them, they're going through. So, let's see what's on this tank. Unlike the T14 Armada, which was here before 2.0 when Obsidian was still a thing, the T14 had access to a 152mm gun. However, that is now on the T14 152. So as you can see here, there are lots of options. One of the first things to go for, if you can, is probably going to be the universal retrofit slot, but otherwise, of course, the cannon is the first thing you want to go for. Starting off, you get penetration of 750, which is roughly tier 9 levels, and at the end you get the 830 pen, which is good as well. But along the way, you also get the Sprinter missile, which is the highest penning missile in the game on a MBT. So there are actually a lot of interesting properties you can do with it. For instance, you can't pen the XM1A3 in the middle lower plate, but you can pen its upper plate, you know, where all the sloping is, which is pretty good. The heat rounds are also pretty punchy as well, 870 pen, which while it won't get you through MBTs, it will definitely help you kill thunderbolts and the like. And you also get an improved gun stabilizer and an autoloader. Apart from this, the mobility of the thing is absolutely exceptional as well, with the improved cooling system. Movement off speed reese is increased by 20%. And lastly, experimental smoke grenades. You also get a protection system as well, which will allow you to knock down projectiles at just about any range, even basically at point blank range. And your soft kill means that missile vehicles at long range will have trouble hitting you. And lastly, there's a spore liner, which isn't really worth it that much. So about the whole protection system thing, as you can see here, versus itself, its basic rounds, its lower plate is very weak. Tier 6s will probably go through this. And its turret ring as well is actually quite small, but as you can see, in some places it actually goes down to around 600mm, which means a Challenger 2 ATGU with its pish rounds can actually go through. If you'll give me a second here. No, I don't want tier 5, I want tier 10. Thank you. As you can see here, it will go through, and if it does, you're gonna die pretty hard. Like I said before, its turret ring, while small, is actually very vulnerable, and the same goes for the lower plate, which you'll say, hang on, that's huge. Well, considering this is a very tall vehicle, this means that just about any rock or surfaces it goes through can actually completely block the lower plate. So yeah, it can be penned by a lot of things frontally, but once you get it hold down, that's a different story. I mean, can you imagine trying to shoot that hold down? It's not going to work. And lastly, the side armor is kind of crap as well. But on the good side, versus standard missile rounds, for instance, if we're going to do this with the Cornet, it transforms into a very different story. So yeah, whereas of course versus AP rounds, it isn't really as good. Another thing I wanted to mention was, of course, the missiles. In fact, I should probably select the XM1A3 first. So versus the XM1A3, the Armada's missiles are actually quite different. As you can see here, using the 125 rounds, which have the highest penetration of any 125mm shell in the game, and I think it's the third highest penetration, followed by the third highest penetration at 830 with the Alte and the T14-152 having around 850 and the Leopard having 900. So the extra 30mm pen actually really helps versus targets. As you can see here, it's like an 82% to hit. X1A3 over there. But if we switch to the Sphincter missiles, it gets a hell of a lot more different. So they can be useful, and they do have a very high penetration and of course a pretty nice speed as well. So good things are good, right? So let's compare this to other MBTs that have a similar playstyle, such as the 99A2, the XM1A3, the Leopard, and of course the Alte. These have roughly similar guns, being in the 120 to 130mm range. As you can see here, the Armada has very high damage, joint with the 99A2 being beaten out by a Leopard 2AX, with the XM1A3 and the Alte having 120mm guns. The penetration is also excellent as well, as you can see here, 830 being only slightly beaten out by the 2AX, with the rest having 800, 850. Its DPM is also very good as well, being far better than the Leopard 2AX, being roughly the same as the Alte, and being also monstrously better than the 99A2, but falling behind the XM1A3. Hit points wise, it's the pretty standard 3500 for a tier 10 MBT, and it's basically made of composite armor. Apart from that, it's a huge tank, so it has absolutely shitty camouflage value, and the gun depression is better than most Russian MBTs, but is still noticeably worse than that of a Western tank. At best, you're going to have a reload time of 6.4 seconds, which is absolutely amazing. This is comparable to the Black Eagle, the Merkava 4M, the 99A2, which is actually worse, and the XM1A3. So if you really want to, you can actually perma-track people, and it will work pretty well. Of course, if you're going to use Rachel, you'll be able to get this down even lower, but I feel like either Cortez or Victor is a better natural choice for this vehicle. Apart from that, there is one more thing I wanted to say about this tank's protection, and that's its ammo rack. As you can see here, you can't exit the ammo rack there, but in the turret ring, maybe. But side armor is a lot of a different story. If people know where to hit the Armada, which is literally right below the turret, it's a Russian ammo rack, which means it's weak and it doesn't have any chance to blow out. So if you're going to get ammo racked, chances are you're either going to explode or you're going to get dealt double damage. So side on to people is not a good idea. This is a very front-facing tank. Apart from this, let's have a look at the commanders you can use. Start off is usually Cortez, which gives you a chance of dealing max damage. This means that with this guy you will always be dealing 786 damage, which is 770 damage, which is amazing, and it means that you will basically be able to outtrade just about anything in the game except for the high damage tanks such as the 152, the Leopard 2AX, and of course the XM1A3. With heat rounds and missiles, this can go even higher. In fact, I should probably learn how to use the commander system rather than doing this amazingly embarrassing thing. If you desperately wanted to, you could also use Rachel, who gives you the ridiculous reload speed increased by 6.45%, which means you should be able to get the reload time down to around 5.8 seconds, which is even better than the XM1A3, and it means that just about nobody on Earth is going to want to even remotely try to trade with you, because you can reload and reload and reload and reload again. Apart from this, if you really desperately wanted to, I should stop saying that. So before we got into Victor, shout out for Gia here, who gives you bonuses based on the fact if you bounce or something, and well, your smoke reload time goes down by 32%, so does your APS. If you really wanted to troll people with your APS shooting down their projectiles, then I guess Gia could be a pretty funny troll build. But apart from that, alas, you can use Victor, at which you are basically guaranteed tracking shots on people, and of course blowing their ammo max as well. The 125s in Armored Warfare are very heavy rounds, and they do hurt, especially when it comes to the heat rounds, and hell, you might even crew kill some MBTs with them. Apart from this, crew skill wise, I would say go for off-road driving and field repair. And for the loader, preventive maintenance, and probably do the twist. Apart from this, it's one of the only MBTs you should actually probably load missiles with. Like I said before, they are pretty fast. In fact, the Sphinxes, they're actually just about faster than just about any other missile in the same tier. Roughly the same as those on the Hornet missiles, which is pretty good. Lastly, retrofit system wise, I don't think you need to use a reinforced ammo rack. As said before, most people don't really know where to shoot ammo racks and they just hope for the best. So advanced MRS and improved gun breach, improved filter systems if you really want to go fast, but you could always use a hull traverse, and of course a repair kit as well, which combined with the driver's 25% boost will give you roughly 50% boost to your track skill, to your repair of your track skills, which means tracking you is going to be really, really difficult. Should go to around 5-4 seconds. Lastly on the tank is the fact that, I have to say this again, it's an unmanned turret, and the fact that it's actually really quick. As you can see here by the mobility, 0 to 32 of 4 seconds, 80 kilometers an hour max speed, and it's 54 tons. This means that anything that isn't an MBT, you can ram them and you can catch up to them. This thing is the absolute bane of light tanks everywhere, simply because it's tracked and it's fast, and it's got a punchy reload gun, which combined with heat rounds means you can basically clobber Thunderbolts and Centauros. And PLO-1s when you think about it. In truth, this is basically a giant light tank with armor, and it's really scary. Anyway, let's have a look at some of those scary games. So, first game off, and actually something I wanted to say about the T14 is that it's super fast. In fact, it's on the top 3 fastest MBTs in tier 10, with the 99A2 having a better hull traverse. They're about roughly similar when it comes to top speed, and the Object 640 being the fastest in the end thanks to its small profile and the fact that it goes 5 kilometers faster than everyone else. So the first thing is that I'm actually having a little bit of a shit post here with Decount. We were joking about the fact that the Altair is a new tank in Armored Warfare and that we should post it on Reddit. There's like 10 in this game, so yeah. Anyway, of course I'm using Cortez with this build, which basically maximizes the damage, which you're going to see here. So the first thing we're going to do is that we're going to push up. This part of the map here, we're pretty speedy, it's pretty cool, and I'm going to slap that cornet for 770. Every single shot in this game is going to be 770 if it hits for full damage. Trust me, we don't even need to care anymore about trading. So yeah, pushing up here, the North team on this map pretty much always has to go 9 line, or set up a defense around to the 5-ish line, simply because this area of the map is too flat for them to engage, which is a bit of a sad thing. So anyway, we're going to start moving up now. 562 done. We pretty much bleated that to AX. And this thing, like all tier 10 MBTs, has exceptional gun handling. It pretty much represents the last line in AW, so of course it's going to be good. We're going to start pushing up now to around B5, yeah. He said it twice, that's why I did. You're going to notice here that I can actually go hold down on that bit of the ridge over there, which means that the enemy won't be able to hurt me unless they hit me in a turret ring. And for now we're basically slowly skirting around this area of the map. The enemy team is basically completely failing to push the 8-9 line, which is actually kind of rare. So for now we're going to move up. And a little bit of a bug there, I honestly thought that XM103 was in front of us. And for now, you're going to see how quickly this thing can deal out damage to people in just a sec. Also the top speed and the mobility, of course. And going up hills. It's a nice little test run when you think about it. Going up hills pretty much at 60 at this point. And we just found an Armata. And also, this thing has APS. You see? You basically get a free damage block. See, 770 done. This guy, I don't think he was particularly awake at this point. Ow, getting hit in the ammo rack. Doesn't matter, it's all good. See, 3,103 done, and now we're gonna basically destroy these guys. So, of course, I'm gonna aim for that XM103 here, because I don't know if that T14 has blocked his APS. It's usually a best idea to try and focus fire Armadas because of their APS, as you can see there. However, this guy, I don't think he particularly knew what angling was, as he kind of, you know, goes there. You can actually track these things in the front sprocket. It's around this area here. It's green. And of course, if you do that, you've perma-tracked and dealt damage, which is kind of a leftover from World of Tanks in terms of how to do things, but it's also there as well. And 770, yeah, pretty much of a good thing at this point. I feel like I could have done a hell of a lot more damage on this map, to be honest. Decount, of course, having not been the focus of enemy fire like I was. But this enemy team basically left themselves wide open, which allowed the relatively fast and quick reload in the Armata to basically destroy them. You see there, high X and 1A3. High X and 1A3. And of course the 6.4 second reload means that you can also switch between ammo types really, really fast. And it also means you can also surprise AFVs as well, because they don't expect you to catch up on them. Like this guy. I really, really, really wanted to ram this Sphinx. See, bounce. Oh, almost, no. Oh. Anyway, that's 6,059 damage done, which is a pretty respectable game. Most of the time, well, with Cortez, you should be aiming to do around 4,000, 5,000 damage a match. It's quite easy to do damage. Of course, you have the 830 pen, you have high damage, you have no man turret, you have an APS. You have a lot of factors which will allow you to basically have a really good defense for you. Just saying, it's really good. In fact, I believe only the Merkava has a hard kill APS for this. So let's have a look at the post game stats, which I need to obviously look at my history first. There we go. So 6,059 damage done. As you can see here, 770, 770, 770. Around 2 to 3 shots done to that T14 Armata, and the rest of these were kills. Highest damage on the team, unsurprisingly. With Cortez, you will always end up doing really high damage. 12 shots fired, 1 missed, which is pretty decent. And damage mitigated by APS 1,300. The APS will mitigate a lot of your damage for you, which is why using gear can be a hilarious troll build, because that thing will start recharging really fast. Anyway, let's have a look at another game. So this is going to be a game highlighting the ridiculous defensive characteristics of this tank. As you can see there, I'm using a different camo scheme. Like I said before, the camo schemes can actually be pretty damn good on the Armata, thanks to the fact it's actually tall and it has a lot of side armor. So yeah, it always looks good. In fact, this actually kind of makes me cringe now. But obviously the first part of this map I usually go to is the hillside. I usually don't enjoy the massive grind down there. But yeah, let's have a look at this thing's ridiculousness. And I'm actually using Rachel at this point, I think. Am I? Identify target. Hostile tank. Yeah, I am. 5.9 seconds already. As you can see there, I can pretty much punch into that Challenger. That's 1,400 damage done already, and this is an incredibly strong spot for me. I can go hold down, and it's going to be an absolute nightmare for them to kill me. The APS reload is, as I said, roughly about 60 seconds, which means if you take 32% off, you're going to be looking around about 40-ish seconds maybe, which is actually really quick. As you can see here, 5.9 second reload again. Punching into that Challenger. We're up to 2,100 damage done already, and I'm actually pretty confident I can actually really kill this guy, because this Charlie should not be doing this. In fact, if they really want to kill us, their entire team should push up. It is incredibly difficult to dig an Armata out thanks to the unmanned turret and everything. And of course, I'm actually having a little bit of difficulty hitting this guy now. This tank's gun depression, while good for a Russian vehicle, is still not great. Oh, another Charlie. Hi, how's it going? And I said before, the gun handling aspects. Bounce again, bounce. Gun handling aspects means that you're able to, of course, snapshot people, which can actually be a little bit of difficulty in most Russian MBTs due to their poor gun handling. Anyway, this Type 99A2, I have no idea why he didn't simply go hold down, but for some reason he just decided to sit down there, and now you're going to see the reload time go absolutely crazy, okay? Yeah, 5.63 at this point. I can just keep backing up. Ooh. Okay, finally hit me with Pish. Of course, we know where he's hitting me. I've yep. Reload timer back up now at 5.39. Yeah, it can get crazy. Trust me. And I was raging at this point because of the Anders wasn't here with me, and the Type should have gone hold down. And unfortunately, I die. But as you can see here, this thing's defensive characteristics really held up. The APS, the front armor, and the gun, as well as the fact I went hold down with the unmanned turret, basically meant that I did the equivalent damage of 1 tier 10 and a half before I finally got killed, which is pretty damn good. And you can see they're using Rachel, can basically put your reload time down 1.2 seconds, which means you're going to be basically approaching light tank levels of damage. Anyway, let's have a look at how that game went. So 6,286 damage done. Basically, those challengers were completely knocked out at that point, crippled pretty much, which basically allowed our team to win. Decount, of course, doing a hell of a lot more damage than I did, but to say I held the line was actually a good idea, and of course that Type 99A2 should have gone hold down, just saying. Lastly, 11 shots fired or hit. Potential damage done was 7,227, which wasn't bad. And potential damage mitigated, 6,294. The APS blocking 2 shots again. Yeah, that's all I really need to say. This thing is an incredibly tough nut to crack, to be honest. So, this thing is amazing, and I would recommend getting it. It pretty much comes at the top tier of just about any PvE Glops or PvP matchup. There's no real weaknesses with this thing, to be honest. It's quite stupid proof. And in the hands of a good player who knows how to hold down and use the speed to rapidly penetrate into the enemy's puckered anuses, you can really hurt people, which you have seen this day. Fast reload speed, punchy cannon. It's a relatively fast vehicle. The front armor is good. It has a hard kill APS. What's not love to love? What's not to love? I give this tank 1 Putin out of a dilapidated Soviet Union. And that's going to be the closing statement for today. You can look forward to Wednesday being the Leopard 2 review. And on Friday we have a special video of some very salty Russians being salty. And of course, if you want to help support my stream, liking and subscribing, thanks to the fact we hit 750 subscribers about a week ago, means that we will be having 2 reviews a week. Should be finished by with Armored Warfare around 2070 as far as I'm concerned. And if you want to personally support me, at the moment I'm trying to get enough money together to buy my beautiful wife, future wife, and my gorgeous maid of honor a necklace each for when I get married in a month and 4 days. Jesus Christ. Anyway, that's all. I hope you enjoyed the review, and like I said, I can't recommend this amazing tank enough. Thanks for coming, guys, and I'll see you all next time.